Big story out of Baton Rouge. We got Carter on the line from LSU Power Hour right here on YouTube to help us break it down. One of the best quarterbacks in the country headed to the Bayou. Carter, how we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Mark. Quarterback rumors are always juicy now with the transfer portal being the way that it is, but it's actually cool to see this actually happen, right? Like you finally see a pretty big name quarterback making a pretty drastic move, right? Going from one completely different culture of football to the number one culture in football, which is, the LSU Tigers. So it's a very interesting time. It's a very fun time now that LSU has four quarterbacks in that room now.
Number one culture in college football. Carter, I'd love to get you on board
is.
with about 3 or 4 other contributors, content creators to really smash that one out.
Yeah. No, I'll say this, right? There's a lot of great culture in college football. I'll be the first to tell you, Athens is the best college city in the country. I'll say this. It's the best college city in the SEC. I haven't gone to as many across the country. But I will say this, there's nothing like Saturday night in Death Valley. Everyone always says that. And every Saturday night, venue has great stuff, right? But if you listen to most of the people in the national media, they'll tell you Tiger Stadium, baby, that's where it is. And ironically, I think that has a lot to do with Jayden Daniels going to LSU, Mark. Look, this was a top 50 quarterback coming out, right? He could have gone to anywhere. He was recruited by essentially everyone. And you go to Arizona State, right? And Arizona State, they have some history when it comes to college football, but it's Arizona State, right? It's not even a top 5 program in its own conference. Whereas now Jayden Daniels is playing at one of these big meccas of college football. And I think that's part of the allure because it is really hard as a recruit to decide where you want to go. And now Jayden Daniels can scratch something off the bucket list and say, look, I got to play at one of these venues where there's 100,000 people in the building. Whereas with Arizona State, there are some diehard Sun Devil fans, but it's not like LSU, right? Where the pressure is so much more immense. Your brand is going to be so much bigger if you actually do become the quarterback of LSU. And I do think that played a role because it's so hard, Mark, as you know, to go to one of these big schools and actually be the guy. And that's where name, image, and likeness comes in. I mean, if Jayden Daniels actually becomes that guy at LSU, there's limitless opportunities for him to take his brand and, his career to the next level, especially with 3 years of eligibility remaining.
Jayden Daniels is going to witness a scene that he's never seen before. He's going to witness a scene. He's going to witness a scene against Troy or Vandy that he sees when Arizona State's really good and they're playing the best team in the when they're playing USC. That's what he's going to see in the lesser games at LSU. He's just not going to experience this anywhere else, or has he to this point? All right, so that's the narrative of a top quarterback coming to an elite program. On the field, what do you get from Jayden Daniels? I know that as a freshman, 17 touchdowns and 2 picks, lit it up for an Arizona State team that he actually had the most fourth quarter comebacks of any quarterback in the nation as a freshman. Not such a great last season based on the numbers, but he comes in definitely as a dual threat guy.
Yeah, so let's talk about the good and the bad. Obviously, he is a dual threat quarterback, which is different than Miles Brennan, who is a pure pocket quarterback who doesn't give you a lot with his legs. So, as far as the quarterback room now, for those that don't know the basics at this point, LSU has 2 younger quarterbacks in its room, both of which are top 100 4-star quarterbacks. They have Garrett Nussmeier is entering year 2. He redshirted last year, and they have Walker Howard, the highest ranked Louisiana quarterback since Ryan Perlew in 2006. So that's where LSU's quarterback room sits right now. I don't know what's going to happen with Garrett Nussmeier. We do know Walker Howard is in it for the long haul, and I think most people, Mark, view Walker Howard as the quarterback for the future. Now, the quarterback in the meantime, We'll see. And that's where Jayden Daniels is a very interesting player, right? He is a dual threat quarterback. LSU brings in Mike Dimbrock, right? One of the most talented play callers of the past decade. Had a great career at Notre Dame and had a great run at Cincinnati. And Desmond Ridder was his quarterback at Cincinnati. And Jayden Daniels, if you compare him and Miles Brennan, Jayden Daniels is actually very similar to that of Desmond Ridder. A dual threat quarterback with pretty decent arm strength and someone that can really run a fun RPO offense. Now, here's the thing. I think as far as what LSU is going to do next year, we'll see. Because, while Mike Dimbrock has been a great play caller, no one's going to mistake him for being, Lane Kiffin or some innovative genius. However, when you have a dual threat quarterback, it opens up so much more you can do offensively. So it's going to be a really competitive quarterback battle. I'm still very early on my channel, Mark. We had a live stream last night. It was a lot of fun. I've been talking to some people that know way more about football than I do, right? And I'll put it this way. The people that really know Jayden Daniels, their opinions are a little bit mixed because last year he had the 10 touchdown and 10 interception season. And Mark, what was really fascinating was there were times where the interceptions were solely on Jayden Daniels. The USC game at home, you mentioned USC a minute ago, he was bad. I don't know what happened. I mean, it was really bad quarterbacking. He made good decisions, but he was just wildly inaccurate. But then you have the UCLA game where he went on the road and legit took over that game. And that's the good and bad of Jayden Daniels. You see a quarterback that you could see leading your NFL franchise. And then other times, Mark, you see the turnovers. And that's just going to ultimately be the decision maker, right? Can Jayden Daniels quit with the turnovers? And if he does, he has a good shot to win this job.